What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Hope you're doing well today. Today, what you're looking at, it's not VR, as evident by there being no headset on my head. This is all to do with Reshade. Now, I was scrolling through the MXB Discord the other day and came across a few, like them, like medal.tv clips that people post. And there was one by a man by the name of Peck, or PEK, not exactly sure which one he goes by. And it looked just super realistic. So I channeled my inner teenager Lins, I slid in the DMs just like the hundreds of girls from back in the day. But this time I actually got a response, which is always nice. So he sent me stuff over and we're going to show it off for you today. I've had a little mess around on a few different tracks and of course JV's tracks looking the best in the game. They look even better with these settings. So we're going to go through a bunch of his ones and I hope you enjoy the look of it. Unfortunately, I won't be able to share these with you just yet. I'm going to leave that to the man himself to release on MXB mods, hopefully, to give him the credit he deserves. But thank you very much for him for letting me do this, and let's go on to the first track. For all of you passionate gamers, you can now get 20% off all G Fuel products worldwide by using code LINS at checkout. And for any of you motorheads looking for some new drip or apparel, use code MXPR_LINS15, fxrracing.eu to get 15% off. All links and codes are in the description down below. Enjoy the video and drop a cheeky little like and subscribe. Right, and as soon as we spawn in, there's a few things going on here. So not only do we have a Reshade preset on, we also have max HUD. So you should see a little outline around the outside, which is like the goggle overlay that you get on max HUD, which will also tilt a little bit as we're turning in the corners. However, if I slowly push my way through the wall here and we go out into the open, you will see that I think it looks so nice. I play on a 2K resolution monitor, and I play the game in 2K, of 144 hertz, and everything like settings wise is all maxed out. So for me on my screen, this kind of stuff looks absolutely incredible. I'm hoping, I know that YouTube's not going to do it as much justice as it should do, but for me it looks really good, especially when we get into scenarios like this where the light's kind of coming at your face. It looks so pretty, and I'm very glad that I found this. This isn't something that I would ever use all the time. It's very computer intensive, so I'm not sure what sort of PC you need to be able to run this stuff. I've found no issues with it just yet, but I am blessed with quite a good setup. In terms of running it for races, it wouldn't kind of add any benefit at all. I think it would hinder you, because of the shadows and how they loom around the track. I suspect, especially on like rough nationals tracks, it would be quite difficult to see exactly where you're going all the time. But from a realism perspective, I think it looks so good. Now, I didn't lie to you in the thumbnail at all. That thumbnail I took before I recorded this video, by the way. That thumbnail is unedited. That is exactly how it looks that's the Baker's facility, which we can also go to as well and show off for you. And I just think to get thumbnail quality images just from playing the game normally is really impressive. And I messed around with Reshade before, I've had a video in the past saying like MX Bikes is beautiful when I was playing on also another JV track called Linkoping, when I had like rays shining towards the eyes, like light rays. But I think this takes it up another level, and I think it's to do with the movement of the camera. Now, one thing that I have done, which is actually changing my setting, not just Reshade or max HUD, is I've turned tilt on. Now, I'm running 20 tilt right now. Usually my first person settings is 115 FOV, 0 tilt and 31 pitch. However, to get that kind of effect where it looks like your head's tilting into the corners, I've turned the tilt up to 20. And again, not something I'd think I'd ever use from a competitive sense, but more to sit down and just enjoy and immerse yourself in the game properly. I think it's really good. And I just want to say a big thank you to Pep for doing this for me as well. It sounds like he's quite a busy man. He's not one of us nerds that just sits on the computer all day, every day, and he can just reply instantly. He sat down and took the time to walk through everything with me and send me presets and kind of tell me what a lot of the different settings do. I've taken his setting and I think I just slapped on 1 or 2 extra ones just to make things look a little bit brighter and to make the shadows just stand out a tiny bit more. But again, I know a lot of people are going to be asking for these settings, as long as YouTube does it justice, just compared to from how it looks from my end to your end. But I want to be the good person, and I don't want to take full credit for this. I want him to be the one to release it. It's very easy just to release things in MXB mods. You save your Reshade settings out as a .ini file, and you just upload it for people to download and load themselves. So I encourage him to do so. I'm sure everyone will be asking for it after this. But it's quite cool that people take the time to like sit down and try and make things look as good as they can. Because I suppose there's multiple ways at looking at MX bikes, isn't there? You can do it from a competitive standpoint where you just play the game and try and go as fast as you can all the time. Others play it just very, very casually. Maybe you're like a PT online grinder. Maybe you're someone like Peck who just wants the game to look as pretty as it can. And I think for someone like me who doesn't have VR at all, I think this does actually quite a good job, except for the fact of being able to look side to side. So if I was like look left and right, it doesn't move on the screen in front of me. Outside of that, I think the whole movement makes it look really, really good. And I think it follows a similar vein. So I've been watching a lot of I watch a lot of horror games on YouTube and people playing that. And one thing that's majorly popping off at the moment in terms of popularity is horror games that include like body cam footage. What they do, probably shouldn't look to the camera, under breaking into a corner. What they do is they kind of distort the camera slightly and make it a tiny bit blurry and add some movement. And it adds a sense of realism. So because the picture's not perfect, you can't make out all the little details that make it look like a game, which I think is what this does. With the tilt added in there and with the shadows and stuff, it makes it look so, so pretty. And I'm going to rotate through a couple of tracks, I think. I think we'll do Baker's Factory next. And then one that I want to experiment with, which I've not tried yet, is JV's Qatar track, which is going to be the nighttime version. I'm very interested to see what the nighttime / shadowy parts look like there. If it's going to be super overwhelming and we can't see anything at all, or if it looks absolutely fine. So Supercross W onto the Baker's facility. Can't lie, it does make it a little bit difficult in this sort of camera to navigate my way through these menus where it's like that warped, distorted effect. It's like the fisheye lens, but still, I really do enjoy it nonetheless. I want a little bit of feedback, by the way. So there's two things that I've done differently in this video. First one is microphone settings. So I've tried to make it so it doesn't pick up as much background noise at all. So hopefully if I wiggle these sticks, you shouldn't hear anything. That looked okay. I saw it pick up one or two. And also with clapping, only picked up one out of them. So yeah, hopefully the microphone settings are a little bit better. I was really, really annoyed after yesterday's video went out and I just saw that I'd completely boofed it audio-wise, so I thought I'd just kind of rebuild everything from the ground up, and seems to be okay so far. The world of the internet is a really great place for changing audio settings. Something else that I've done, which I hope that I remember to edit this correctly, otherwise it's going to be so embarrassing. I can move over any corner of the screen that I want to now, so that's great. Again, found something online, and hopefully in the editing process it goes well. I'm not just stuck up here in the top right where I usually am. I can move over depending on like what game I'm playing, what track I'm on. If you need to see things, I can move all over the place in the editing process. So again, massive W there. And I'm just trying to really, I guess, just step up the quality of the videos overall at the moment. I feel like it's a very, very important thing. People seem to be enjoying it so far. That was absolutely disgusting. I'm sorry, I need to go watch that in replay. Or slow it down as well, get it in slow motion. That was so... I was just literally stood up, leant forwards. That I couldn't have got that any more perfect. Across all of them as well, and the back end was swapping on each one. I'm very, very surprised that the front end stayed up like that. I'm a very, very happy man. I love when those sort of accidental steez moments happen. So let's do a lap of this track. This track's actually very good for this because I think look how realistic the grass looks. Like just the models of the grass. Like it looks so clean, and the sky looks like really, really blue as well. Like it's so, so nice. So usually when I create videos for you guys, where I don't run Reshade anymore because I'm scared of game crashes, I might actually start running it. Might run it more often these days just because I feel like Max HUD was the culprit, not Reshade at all. But where I've not been running it, I've been changing like the colours of the videos in DaVinci Resolve when I'm going through the editing process. So I'm going to make sure I don't touch anything in this one. So what you're seeing is exactly how I'm playing it. And if I was not so invested in the competitive side of this game, if I just hopped on this game to be very, very casual and just play for fun and try and immerse myself in a sense of realism, I would run this all the time. I really, really would. I think it looks so, so pretty. And I think like tracks like JV's tracks look good just in normal game settings anyway. So if we can then elevate it and go even further, I think it's so nice. And the fact that this game is not in like Unreal Engine or anything like that, so we don't get to take advantage of all these like really big systems that I'd love him to port it over. That'd be really, really nice. So then we can make it look even better than it does. But to take the game and like community-made models that have been imported in and like textured by members of the community, and then tracks made by the community as well, to then just slap on a few reshade settings and end up with this result, I would argue that this does rival the big AAA titles graphics, like what I'm looking at right now, because that seems to be the only point that I really see people have whenever it comes to debates like MX Sim or MX Bikes versus the arcadey games, whether it's Legends or Supercross, whichever it may be. They always go down the graphics route. So if we have the ability to make tracks and bikes look as good as this, then I think we do need to utilise it. It would be nice if it wasn't so computer intensive. Like I said earlier, I've not come across any frame drop issues myself, but I've only done this in testing so far. I've not taken it online. That could be a very cool test, is to try and get a bunch of the boys online and have all of their gear downloaded and see how good it looks then. Like, that could be really, really cool. But I think this lends itself perfectly to like short format stuff as well. Like if you can make little onboard videos or like fake GoPros, I guess you could say, and upload them to Instagram or TikTok, I feel like those would do really, really well, and it's something that I feel like I'm going to experiment with over the next coming like weeks, just slap a lap on every now and then. Like, it's really not difficult to sit down and record a lap time and then post it online. You might get lucky one day and it finds its way into the algorithm and it's all really, really good. One thing that would be quite nice to do, which I've already done in the editing process of this video, so there's no point me even... It's hard to compare anyway, but in terms of like noise, it would be nice for it to sound like it's almost slightly muffled, as if you are wearing a helmet, so the audio changes slightly, which I've already done in the editing process for this. Again, a quick 30-second Google search, and I was able to find the exact tutorial that I was looking for to change the audio to my liking. So again, a massive W. But yeah, it'd be nice for how you hear it right now. It would be nice for me to be able to hear it that way. Again, just adds to that level of immersion, adds to the realism, and I might actually slide this video into Paboso's DMs once he goes out, because I'd love for him to see what his game can be. I think it's just very, very impressive. It's quite interesting to see how completely different the game can be from if you buy it stock from game like day one and you're playing on practice track. My English not work. Let's rewind it back a little bit. Let's just start again. So it's very interesting to see how completely different the game can look from day one of playing on the MSM bikes on the practice track compared to playing like fully fleshed out GP tracks on custom modded bikes with fully like looked into and organized reshade settings. It's just really, really cool. I've not actually tried this track yet. It's my first attempt around it on this bike, and it's not as like contrasty as I thought it would be. I thought that the dark areas, the parts that have no floodlights on them, would just be like unseeable, if that's again not proper English, but I thought you wouldn't be able to make anything out in the distance. Oh, YouTube doesn't like dark colours anyway, so a little bit racist actually, YouTube. Please fix that. But no, like if you're playing horror games or anything on YouTube, it looks sort of like really, really grainy in the dark parts. It doesn't look good at all in terms of bitrate. So I'm hoping this doesn't get fully boofed. This game is bad to record at the best of times to make it look good because the bitrate can't keep up with what you're doing. Please land it, please land it. 720 on the wrist. It makes me smile. I'll get into certain parts of tracks and you just sit there and you just have to appreciate what it looks like. There's other parts where it's not as noticeable, for sure, but when the light hits it just right, it looks really, really nice. And I know full well there's going to be comments on this. You've probably already commented. Like, if you've made it this deep into it, then maybe you haven't got them same feelings. But there's probably people saying this looks absolutely disgusting, what are you on about? And I get it. I know it's probably not for everyone, especially when it comes to like the fisheye lens, make it look a little bit warped and distorted. I imagine it could make some people feel a little bit ill. Maybe you might get a bit of a headache whilst trying to play for it for too long. And honestly, I'm surprised that I'm still able to ride as well as I am like it. One thing that has happened, which, intentional or not, I have no idea, but it actually ends up being more beneficial to me, is I find myself riding a little bit slower and more reserved. It feels like the bike's moving slower. So I will hit jumps that usually I feel like I'm moving quite fast to hit. I'll hit them at what feels like a lot less speed on this, but still downside them fine. So then when I try speeding up and hitting them faster, how it feels like I should hit them, I find myself over jumping or flat landing a whole bunch. But for whatever reason, I'm sure there's some placebo effect involved, but whenever I'm playing in this camera, I find myself to be a lot more controlled, a lot smoother on the throttle, on the inputs, and it's just really, really enjoyable experience. One thing that I would love to do, which I also haven't tried yet, is to try and tackle a track like Krakenberg. You know, I really enjoy my Enduro. It would be so nice just with no like HUD stuff in terms of map or speed, just exactly like this, just raw bike slash visor around the outside. Just go and do a lap of Krakenberg and see what it looks like and what it feels like. I think it would be so immersive of an experience. Now, a lot of people do ask me if I'm ever going to go down the VR route. I've said a few times that it's kind of too expensive for what it's worth, for the amount of time I would use it or the amount of games I would use VR on. A few very, very nice people have suggested that they send me their own VR headset that they might not use anymore. The answer to that being, unfortunately, I don't want to give my address out, and I don't have a PO box at this moment in time, at least. Whilst I do thank you for the offers, it's a no, unfortunately. But I suppose, please, no.
I don't think so, pal.
But I suppose for the time being, at least, it's quite nice getting to do this as well and having that nice little middle ground overall. I'm a little bit concerned because I was just about to like kind of do my usual sign out at the end of the video, and I've been going for about 19 minutes or so now. I've looked across at my other monitor at the recording, and like my face cam, just hit the mic, I apologise. The face cam like looks smooth in terms of FPS. However, the recording doesn't. The recording looks like it's going in about 20 frames per second, whereas in game, can you even see this overlay? Kind of in the top right, if I move my camera, I'm at about 120. So very smooth for me, but not over on Streamlabs. So I'm kind of concerned that when I go and put this into DaVinci to edit it, it might look a bit poopy. So if it does, I apologise. I'll put a little disclaimer at the start of the video. If not, then just ignore what I'm saying. But 100%, whenever Pet gets around to releasing this preset for everybody onto MXV mods, you won't regret it. Just download it and give it a go. It's so, so nice. Of course, for the third-person players, probably doesn't affect you guys at all. Maybe it'll encourage you to play a little bit at first. No idea. But I think that's going to do it from me. I'm very, very happy that I found this because it's just one of them things that kind of refreshes the game for me a little bit. Is just finding these little niche things to do to keep myself entertained, and it brings a whole new perspective to the tracks and the beauty that the game can achieve too. So if you've enjoyed this video, then by all means please do drop a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new. I would really, really appreciate it. Comment for the algorithm, you know, help a brother out, all that good YouTube stuff, and have a lovely rest of the day, whatever you're up to, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.